to Joy Junktique. I'm Rhonda, and today I'm sharing my design team project for Sam Poole. I enjoyed this project so much. I made a vintage journal, and I also have a little pouch that I made by printing on fabric. Have you ever gone into your grandmother's attic or in her memory box and seen how old everything looks, the stains on it and just the aging on it? I just love it. Oh, and I was going to show y'all, whenever I remember growing up, my grandmother used this because she lived way out in the woods by herself after my grandfather died. And so she would hang this bell on her door to alert her if somebody was trying to get in her door. So it doesn't look like much. This wasn't all she did. She did brooms and mops and all kinds of stuff to fall if anyone tried to get in. But I had to have this. It probably would have been something that may have gotten thrown away, but this is a very vivid memory in my mind. So stuff like this just means the world to me because, you know, it's what keeps them alive in our minds. So I just thought this was really, really neat, and I just thought I'd share that with you. So whenever I thought of making this journal, this is the first thing I thought of. So that is why I kind of created it the way I did, because it reminded me of finding different things from my grandmother. So I just incorporated all of her vintage, the sepia tones and the muted tones, and I incorporated them all into this journal in this little pouch. So let's get into the journal first. So here's the front, just kind of layered with all kinds of laces and doilies. And this right here is a little pocket. So this comes out, and it's a little glassine bag that I stamped with one of her stamps. And inside is a tag that I made. And I just loved how it all turned out on that black. I added a little bit of sequins, a little bitty die cut. And I cut this tag out with one of my die cuts, and I backed it with this paper. So that actually sits back into here this way. Goes back down in that pocket, and here's a little note card that I made just by layering my stamps, distressing it, and using a little bit of gesso on top to kind of tone it down and make it look old. Here I just took a piece of seam binding ribbon and wrapped it from the center of the book and tied it on the outside to cover where I had bound it. And here's the back. I just left it kind of plain so it wouldn't be too bulky. And then I have just these little charms, which is put on with a rusty safety pin. And it's a little jingle bell, just a little bead, and this little rhinestone dangle. And then there's a button here that makes it look like there's a button to close it. So you just undo the safety pin to get into it. So as you open the journal, I have some coffee dyed paper here that I did with my lace plastic doilies. And then this is a piece of actually this lace that I cut and put in here. Just lots of vintage pages. I tried to keep it all the off-white and white and creams and that kind of stuff, but I wanted to add just a touch of color here and there, just so it wouldn't be so plain. So this is just one of the printed pages. This pocket here I made with one sheet of paper that I folded the bottom up, and then I folded the top down. When you lay it long ways, I folded the bottom up and the top down, and then I just cut it so that I would have flaps here and that they could fold down on each side. So there's one pocket here and there's one pocket at the end of the journal. So inside the pocket is this tag. And as I think about the story behind this journal, maybe, I think of maybe a little girl who grew up and kept all her little treasures from growing up. And then this is just some rose petals that she kept in just a little glassine bag. And I'm sure they were from somebody special in her life. And as you look through this journal with me, you can let your imagination make up the story as we go to. So I thought this would have been a picture of her and her mother, and her little keepsakes from maybe a dress. And this page is done with a stamp by SamPoole. And what I did is I inked it with brown and black ink at the same time. And it just kind of gave a really aged and, you know, vintage feel. This could have been the packaging that came on something really special that she got as a present. Here's a tag with lots of little remnants of fabric, and just things that might have been from possibly her wedding dress or a special place she went. This is a SamPoole stamp too. Here's just some more little remnants of fabric. Maybe came from a baby blanket or something really special. And then there's a tiny little button on there. And then you can do some secret journaling under there. And here's a little tag. Has a sweet little bird on it. And just a little piece of torn paper attached. Maybe just something special that meant something special to her. Just little things that she kept throughout her life. Maybe this was her as she got a little older. This could be a handkerchief that she kept from her mother or grandmother that was special to her. And it's just hand stitched onto this page to hold it in place. A little piece of a tablecloth doily maybe. Here's another place to journal. This could have been probably her grandmother. I just it on this paper just so it would be another place to journal a little easier. So here, as you open up, maybe this was her as a little girl, and maybe this represents the roses that she loved to smell in their yard. Maybe this was her grandmother's house, and this might be another memory of those flowers. So on this page, this is a doily that I sprayed with my sparkle spray. I hope you can see that. Just a little shimmer. And then I distressed the edges. And this could be a picture of her as she got older in life, or maybe a friend. And on the backs of all the photos, I stamped them with SamPoole stamps, the date stamps. And this could be just something she kept for maybe a tea party or something that was special to her. That's just another little die cut I used on that paper. There's just lots of old pieces of lace, all the old vintage receipts and pages like that I decided to add. There's things that she would have kept. This could very well be her children and a little remnant of their baby shoes. And this could have been the scriptures that she taught them. Children, obey your parents. Here's another sweet tag. Maybe an outfit that she loved and wanted to purchase one day. And maybe this was as she got a little older. Or maybe it was her sister. Or maybe it was one of her daughters as they got older. And here's another little photo. That one's a really sweet one. Maybe this was another picture of her when she was really young. This is just a little notepad. Just a little bit of paper that opens from the side here. And here's a class photo. Maybe this is one of her children, or maybe it was her. Maybe she was a teacher and this was her class. And here's another photo of a little girl with a teddy bear, like her mother, her grandmother, when they were young. Very sweet. I love that photo. In this pocket, here's a piece of wallpaper. Maybe it's something that she kept from her house growing up, or maybe something she wanted to use in the future. And that's the end of the journal. So it just will safety pin closed. Just go through the little fabric here. So there is that. And I just love how it turned out. It looks really vintage and just feels like it's been in an attic for years. So this is the little pouch, and I thought it would be really neat to make a little pouch of all the things that she could not fit into the journal, but that she still wanted to keep, and that was just special memories and maybe things that she needed to keep, you know, to keep record of or whatever. So this is the little pouch, and all I did is I took a piece of the letter size, the full sheet of the labels. They're not cut, it's just one full sheet. So I took that and I printed this on it. And when I got through, I just left the paper behind it instead of peeling it off. So you get that really crunchy sound, and I just love it. I always think of the movie Despicable Me, the little girl when she got her big unicorn that they won at the fair or whatever, and she was so excited, and she's like, it's so fluffy. Whenever I squeeze one of these and hear that crunchy sound, I just want to go, it's so crunchy. It just makes me feel good because it's so crunchy. So I like that element in there. So that's why I left the paper. And once I got that printed off and, you know, cut any excess off, kind of frayed the edges, then I had just a piece of, like, I think this was an old sheet that I ripped up. And so I just sewed this onto the sheet, and then I folded it up with that little gusset. You just do the fold. You don't have to add any extra pieces to it. You'll just fold it like this and then sew the edges here. And then I added a little piece of scrap lace that could be used to fasten with a button because it already had the holes in it. So that is all I did for that, and I plan on doing a tutorial, just a short tutorial in the near future to show y'all. So here I just added this little rhinestone lace flower, just scraps with little tulle, maybe off of a dress, I think. So I could just picture just her saving sweet little things that meant something to her and then using them to create things to keep her memories in. So that is how that's how I was inspired to create this. So here's a little tag that was in one of the kits, just a little torn ticket or something. So I just put a little eyelet here and a rusty safety pin to hold that on. There's that cute little button with the rhinestone in the center, and there's the flower. So I loved this, and I just thought it would make a really cute little pouch for her to put all the little ephemera and any kind of little memories in. So I'm just going to start with these little tags. So I had a tag like this on the front, and I had made several, and I just used Sam's stamps to layer these to get different effects, and I gessoed them. So I cut them out of my little tag punch, and then from there I just layered all the stamps and gessoed a little bit on top to kind of make them look a little bit not quite so bright. So there's those tags. So there's extras in here, and I absolutely thought these were adorable, these little envelopes. And I printed these on fabric in the same way, and I left them on the paper just like that and just folded them up and glued them together. And then this has a little card in it, just a little piece off of one of the pages, the ephemera pages. And I want to say this is from the sepia tone. So I just slid that in there, and then I added a little doily, just a little tiny remnant of a doily. But aren't those cute? And there's 3 different sizes. So there's that one. And I had a little bow just out of some scrap fabric. I think this was cheesecloth. And so this one just has a little tag that I used one of her stamps on. So I thought that one was really cute. And then this one is a little smaller. There's a little tiny flower doily, or piece of flower off of a doily. And in this one, I just put an old key with a little ribbon on it. So there's those. And then here, I did all the little envelopes and postcards and stuff and folded them up so that we could have a little mail bundle. So inside of it, there's this little envelope, there's this little envelope, and it actually has a pocket here, so I'll be putting something in there too. And then there's this envelope that I folded up because it's printed to where you can score it on the folds and fold it up like an envelope. So I just made a little mail, just a little collection of her mail, special things. Just special things that she wanted to keep. Here's a postcard. Here was one of her like sample cards, and I just put some notepad paper that I already had. I had these little notepads, so I just pulled some of them off and stapled them in there for an extra little notepad. Here is a collection of receipts, just a really old receipts. Here's a playing card, It's bright red, but it's so old. And I just thought that might be a little memory she had of playing games with either her siblings or her children or something. Here's a little envelope I made just out of one of the printables. And I just have a little piece of the tape on there that opens up easy. And this may be my favorite thing that I did on this set. So as you open it up, I used my die cut, which is this. I have this die cut that makes this little photo frame. And I just used my distressed paper that I had coffee dyed. I stamped the date. And then I added one of Sam's little photos. And I absolutely love this. This is like my favorite thing. So I just wanted to put it in a special little envelope here, which I just created with the paper. It was super simple. Just kind of folded it up and went from there. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just started folding. And then just got tapes. And then this was out of my grandmother's stash, that one of the things I kept. And I photocopied it and recreated it with an old quarter. But it was just an old, like an order form, I guess, for some kind of photo jewelry. And there's the back side. So I just kind of recreated that and put that in there. And then this, I just wanted to add a tad of color here and there. Just subtle. But this was another one of those little doily pages that the Pastel Doily kit. And this was a little wax melt, faux wax melt, because it's actually hot glue that I had made. And so it was actually the clear hot glue, so I painted it with my white gesso, and then I used my gold wax to give it this effect. And I glued the string underneath it when I glued it down, so that you wouldn't lose the string and you could just wrap it and tie. So inside here, I just had some Paris stuff, because maybe she always dreamed of going to Paris, or maybe she had been there and this was some of her keepsakes from there. And here, this lady is really pretty. And I just glued this lace on here to look like her apron. And I thought that turned out pretty. And there's the back. And then this was the Paris postcard. I think this is from her new kit, the Artiste, pink Artiste. I just wrapped some string and tied it here. And then this is just a really pretty image. And I took one of my other little stamps I have. This one isn't Sam's, but it's a new set I got. And after watching Rhonda a little bit French, she had a set from the Cavallini stamp set, and I actually found one, and I was so excited. So I just used one of those for that. And then this was just some more ephemera that was in the kit, little tickets and a little advertisement. So all that goes back in here. So then it just ties up here. Like that. So that's everything out of the pouch, but I will show you the inside. It's just like that. There's the little fold at the bottom, and it actually will sit up straight. So this just slips back in here. It's just kind of a fun little thing to put all the ephemera and the little keepsakes that I could imagine her keeping. So it's just a sweet little story behind it, but you can make your own story as you look at all of the photos and the memoirs that are in the journal and in this little pouch. So I had a whole lot of fun doing this. Making vintage things is just my absolute favorite. So I really enjoy especially these colors, because this is true to the actual history. So I just so much enjoyed it. So there it sits up by itself. And then here's the journal. So there you have it. I had so much fun and enjoyed this project so much. And I hope you enjoyed it too. And I hope you will go check all of her digitals out and just have fun creating. So have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. God bless.